Things happen when you make them happen, and you make them happen by having a plan. Hi guys, I'm Anne. Welcome to Chronically Beautiful, where we're trying to live our best life even though we probably don't feel like it. And this is my first series. So I'm going to do a series of videos that are about game-changing habits. Hopefully they will help to improve your life as much as they've helped me. The first video in my series on game-changing habits is going to be about time management. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please keep watching, but please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, ring the bell, and don't forget to tell your friends. Share me. Please get me out there. All right, you guys, let's dive right in. So in this series, I'm all about sharing some of the habits that I have been using for years that really help me to be productive and successful in my everyday life. And time management is probably one of the most important things that will help you to be successful moving forward. Now, I am not always a great time manager. I'm going to admit right now, I procrastinate like no one's business. And in my younger days, I was terrible at time management, but I did finally figure it out, and I want to share some of the tips that I have. The first and most important thing that I can tell you about getting a handle on your time management is having a system for planning. Have a planner, use your phone, use your Outlook calendar. I don't care what it is that you do. It does not have to be a paper planner. It can just be a notebook that you keep in your pocket or your purse. It can just be Post-its that you have lined up on your mirror, whatever. But make sure that you are doing something that gets all the information in your head, out of your head, and onto something else that you can reference and see. There are so many amazing things you can do. You can tell Alexa to add things to your Google Calendar for you, and then it's just there. And then from the Google Calendar, on the web, it will send it to your phone and you've got it right there in front of you. There is no reason in this day and age that anyone should be forgetting about appointments, missing things. We all have those moments. I mean, even sometimes when I write it all down in my calendar, I'll forget something and get a phone call from an appointment I'm supposed to be at and go, oh my gosh, well, I wrote it down, but I didn't look at it. So that's the next tip. Not just using a planning system, but using the planning system. You have to stay in the planning system. You need to reference it daily, at least once, if not more. So make sure that you're in your planner, that you're in your calendar, that you're double checking. I like to end each day by looking at my planner and seeing what's going to be happening tomorrow. You might want to do that in the morning before your day gets started. In the summertime, I do it that way, but during the school year, I am not a morning person, so I like to do it the evening before. That way I know everything that's happening the next day. I can get my to-dos set up for that day. I can see, oh, whoops, forgot, I have to get to this appointment, or I've got no other free days this week except this one, so I've got to make sure that I'm making some meals, whatever it is. So make sure that you're using the planner and referencing it daily. Schedule your time. That might sound like a no-brainer, and it also might sound like, what do you mean schedule my time? I sleep part of the time, I'm home part of the time, I'm at work or school part of the time. But what I mean is schedule your time within that time. So if you work a job where you have some freedom about what projects you're doing at what times, you definitely need to have a schedule for those things. For me at work, I'm a band director, but that also means running my department, dealing with budget, dealing with ordering of things, dealing with setting up rehearsal schedules and meeting with students. And so for me, I like to schedule out that every Monday I deal with money, and every Tuesday I'm doing music score study. Wednesdays, I reorganize my office and clean my desk off, etc. So have a plan and have your time scheduled, because the next thing you know, you sit down at your desk with a free hour and it's gone because you've been watching this video on YouTube. No, don't stop watching. But do you know what I'm saying? That the time can disappear so quickly. So be purposeful about how you are managing your time and how you are scheduling that time. I schedule time every Sunday to sit and fold all of my laundry and set my clothes out for the week. I schedule time every Sunday to meal prep for the week. I schedule time to either go shopping or to order my groceries so that I'm set up so I don't end up later with an emergency that causes me to make bad choices. That leads me to my next idea, which is having a launch pad system. And what I mean by launch pad system is that you have places in your home where you are designated to get ready for leaving the house. So for me, that means each night before I go to bed, I put my school bag and my purse on the bench by the door. I make sure everything is in them that is needed. I put my lunch bag and my water bottle for the next day on the kitchen counter right by the refrigerator so that I can get up and go. I hang all of my clothes out for the week by outfit on a rack that goes over my door. Even at night, I will set out all the makeup I'm going to use the next morning so that I don't have to think about anything. I do much better in the evening than I do in the mornings. I'm a zombie in the morning. So the Launchpad system is a must for me, and probably for many people who are dealing with chronic illness and still have full-time jobs, because it's a lot to have to take that stuff all in first thing in the morning. Before my husband goes to bed at night, he gets out all of his cologne, deodorant, toothbrush, all the things that he uses to get ready at the bathroom counter. He gets them out and sets them on the counter. And he especially does this on days when he's got really early meetings, because he doesn't want to have to do all of that in the morning. The Launchpad system is such a great idea to help you to just move through. If you've got little kids, you have to have this. You have to have a system like this in place. If you are a student and you're continually leaving your homework or your instrument or whatever it is you need at home, this is a no-brainer. If you are someone who is living between two different houses, maybe you're a teenager that is living between mom and dad, this is going to save your life, because you know how difficult it is. For my stepkids, I know it's a challenge for them. Living in two houses is not easy. And even for us, continually making sure that they have everything they need at our house and that they have everything they need, they have a lot to be responsible for. And so when all of us work together and communicate what everybody needs at each house, it goes much, much better. And kids of any age can use this method. Even little teeny kids can dress themselves and go through that whole process. They make these awesome things that are, you could just use a bookshelf and label it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or use a little set of drawers and label it and put everything they need for each day. You could put their shoes, socks, underwear, clothes, even things that they need to take to school that day with them. Another way to help kids with the Launchpad system, have a place for them to drop their things when they come in the house, and not just in the middle of your kitchen table. Have a hook on the wall for the backpack with a little pocket for them to put anything that needs to be signed. You can find a million drop zone, mudroom kind of little things on Pinterest to help you with this. And it doesn't need to be a luxury mudroom. It can just be a bench that's off to the side, or a hook on the wall, or this chair in the dining room, the corner of their bedroom. Having a place for you to drop your things, your kids to drop their things. This is something that's really, really important. That way things don't get lost and you don't leave the house without the things that you need. Drop zone, Launchpad, gotta have them both. Trust me. Creating routines. And this might seem like, same thing, scheduling your time, but it is a little bit different. Routines are the way that we make our way through each of our days and get everything done that we need to get done. The routines are the things that are pretty much unchanging. And you think about a routine in terms of a little kid. They know that they eat dinner, bath time, bedtime. That's a pretty standard sort of routine. Anyone of any age can have routines and should have routines. Living your life just kind of floating along and just doing whatever sort of happens to you as you go is fine if that's what you're into, but you wouldn't be watching this video if that were fine with you. So setting up a system, a routine, something that allows you to have things that happen in your world each day that you do not have to think about because it's just how it goes, is going to really, really help you to free up the hard drive space in your mind to keep track of the stuff that is changing throughout your day. Obviously, you have a lot of things that change. Once you leave the house, your day changes constantly all the time. So, having a routine set up for how you handle things before you leave the house and how you handle them once you get home from wherever you've been, if you've worked, etc., is going to be really, really helpful for you. And you do have routines within your day as well. You have a routine each time you come out of class. You go to your locker, you get a drink, you go to the next class. You have routines at work. I was speaking of one earlier where I do money on Mondays and score study on Tuesdays. That's a routine. And the better I stick to that routine, the more things are organized and are happening the way that I need them to happen in order for all of my life to run smoothly and be successful. And I don't have to think about it so much. It does take time, however, to get into these routines. Building a habit is not something that happens like that. None of these things are going to happen for you all at one time and be perfect tomorrow, and you're just like, oh yes, this is it. You're going to have to ease in. Choose one or two of the things on this list and just begin with those. And then move your way on to the next one once you feel that you've been really successful. I'm sure you've heard all kinds of different things like this, but there's always like those things that say, it takes 7 times of doing something to learn it, and 49 times through for your body to remember it, and 63 times to make it a routine. I mean, whatever those numbers are, there's accuracy in those statements because it does take a lot of repetition. It's not like you're going to wake up on January 1st and be a different person.
I made a resolution to floss, and I did it. 12:01, January 1st, bam, blood everywhere.
And finally, if you are someone who does not live alone, you're going to have to start training your family as well. None of these strategies are going to work for you if you have to do them alone. If you are a parent, your children are going to need to be trained on how to do these things as well, because then otherwise, all the time you've saved by getting better at managing your time is just going to be wasted chasing after them and trying to get them to get their shoe on. Oh no, I can't find it. You're going to have to train your family. If you have a partner that is really fly by the seat of their pants and just kind of does whatever all the time, you might have to have a conversation with them that says, you know what, I can't run off and go do a thing tomorrow. I already have it in my routine and my schedule that I have to be in this place and do this particular thing. Now, that doesn't mean that you should be so rigid that you are not living life and you're cutting spontaneity out altogether. That is not what I'm suggesting. And it is something that I have to work on getting better at. My husband is all about just trying new things all the time and going and doing something that we didn't have a plan for. That's harder for me. That's harder for me with my schedule. And it's mostly hard for me because I never know how my body is going to react to that kind of situation. I never know if I have enough energy as someone with chronic illness to be able to handle that new thing and the other stuff that I have to fit into my schedule and into my routine for that day or that week. So you have to balance these things out in the way that works best for you and your family. But communication is key when it comes to setting up any new time management habits, any new habits at all. If you don't live alone, you're going to have to work with the people around you. Train your tribe so that they can help you to be as successful as possible. And finally, if you haven't heard this before, it is not an original quote. I'm not even sure who originally said it, but it's really, really simple. Failure to plan is planning to fail. And that could not be more true. It doesn't matter how you're planning it, but if you don't get yourself set up for success in some possible way, it is very unlikely that you will reach it. So please remember that as you're heading forward into this new year, into the roaring 20s. And if you want this to be a successful year, you have to plan on it being a successful year. It doesn't just happen because you want it real bad. Life isn't like that. Things happen when you make them happen. And you make them happen by having a plan. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming on this adventure with me. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and keep your eyes peeled for the others in the series. Keep coming back. Take care of you. Hello.